I hereby call this meeting of the State Lands Commission to order. I'm Eleni Kounalakis, Lieutenant Governor of California and Commission Chair. And with me today is Commissioner Malia Cohen, the State Controller of California. The time is 9:08 a.m. on June 5th, 2023. We are near Pier's 421 decommissioning site in the City of Goleta. Goleta. Thank you very much, Hannah Jackson, former senator. A quorum of commissioners is present for an event to celebrate the successful decommissioning and removal of the last shore zone oil pier. Commissioners and their staff are present to attend this event. No official action will be taken at this part of the meeting. Under California state law, when a quorum of commissioners is present for purposes related to the commission's jurisdiction and authority, it constitutes an official meeting, and it must be properly noticed and open to the public. This meeting has been so noticed, and provisions have been made to allow the public to attend. Thank you to everyone who is here from the public. So at this point, the event will commence, and as no official action will be taken here, there will be no transcript of the discussions taking place at this point. However, we are on our way down to the next location and the next part of this meeting. So thank you again, everyone, for being here. And Ms. Lucchese, are we ready to go?
We are ready to walk.
Let's go.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jennifer Lucchese. I'm the Executive Officer of the California State Lands Commission, and I just want to welcome you all to this really momentous event this morning. I'll be acting as a bit of an MC this morning, so to introduce all of these wonderful leaders that we have, both from the local and state levels, and we're just super excited and thrilled to be here with you all celebrating this incredible milestone. So before I begin, we had planned to have the chairpersons of the Coastal Band and the Barbareno Band of the Chumash here. Unfortunately, events took them away, but I do want to just acknowledge their partnership and their leadership and their knowledge and expertise in helping us really do what's right out here in removing these piers. And in particular, I want to take a moment to acknowledge and express our deep, deep gratitude to the Chumash people on whose lands this event is taking place. The Chumash have maintained a constant presence on the landscape, living on this coast, fishing in these waters for countless generations. And we, the Commission, take seriously our trust relationship with these sovereign governments and recognize that California's native people are essential stewardship partners of the state's lands and resources. And so with that, without further ado, it's my honor and privilege to introduce the 50th Lieutenant Governor of this state, Lieutenant Governor and Chair of the California State Lands Commission, Eleni Kounalakis.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. What an honor and privilege it is to be here. And I think we need a new policy of all state lands commissions meetings taking place on the beach in Goleta from now on. Who's with me?
I'm with you.
Thank you all for coming to this exciting and momentous occasion. While, as Jennifer mentioned, they could not be here, I do want to also acknowledge Chairwoman Eleanor Fishburne of the Barbareno Band of Chumash Indians and Chairman Gabriel Frausto of the Coastal Band of the Chumash Nation for their engagement on the pier removal project. Throughout the removal of the piers, our tribal partners have been a critical voice. Thank you for their support, and we look forward to continuing to work as partners as we transition to a clean energy future for all in the state of California. I'd also like to thank the members of the legislature here today, Senator Monique Limon and Assemblyman Greg Hart. As representatives of this region, I know the challenges of the energy transition are very real for both of you. Your leadership on getting rid of the old legacy oil infrastructure has been instrumental. Thank you both. I'm very honored to be here to recognize and celebrate the removal of the last two shore zone oil production piers off of California's coast. With Piers 421 removed, we are closing a major chapter in California's history. In the last century, oil extraction along the coast was far more widespread, particularly here along the Santa Barbara coast. 13 oil piers once dotted this beautiful beach. Today, as you can see, there are none. This beautiful beach is now completely unobstructed. No more ugly, hazardous, polluting oil piers. So the team at the State Lands Commission, we started this project in 2019 and completed it this past February. During that time, we permanently plugged and abandoned 2 wells and removed and disposed of nearly 4,300 tons of soil, 1,100 tons of concrete, and 320 tons of steel. It took 320 truckloads to remove everything. So I'd like to also recognize the contractors and the workers behind the removal at Beacon West, OFRS Inc., and Environmental Construction Group. They spent nearly 13,000 hours safely removing 6,000 tons of material, 97% of which was recycled. So let's hear it for those firms and for all the hard workers who are out here doing this important project. The removal of these oil piers embodies a larger vision of how we want to see California, putting oil and gas in the past and ushering in a new clean energy future. And I see Hannah Beth Jackson out of the corner of my eye nodding. And let's hear it for the former senator whose work has been so instrumental. So when we talk about the transition to a clean energy future, we can think about it sometimes in the abstract. But in reality, this transition happens one project at a time. It's one solar farm, one electric school bus, one offshore wind farm, one battery storage, each one of these projects coming online at a time. And it's also one oil decommissioning project at a time. And that is why it's so important for all of us to be here to recognize the magnitude of what we have done to reverse the history of offshore drilling and reclaim our beaches for the public. So finally, as we gather here, I'm also reminded of the next big decommissioning project, literally and figuratively on the horizon right behind me. In the distance, you can see Platform Holly. The Commission has plugged all 30 of the wells on the platform, and we are gearing up for the next phase of the decommissioning process. That is on its way out next. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, but the way this project happened should make us all optimistic for the future. Rarely has a project of this scale gone so smoothly. Our staff worked incredibly hard to reach this point, and the Commission could not have done it alone. It was a team effort. Thank you to the City of Goleta, Santa Barbara County, our tribal partners, the Coastal Commission staff, OSPR, and CalGEM. And thank you to all the community leaders and the activists. Who's here from Get Oil Out? Here we go. Thank you to all of you who've been on the ground fighting for an oil-free, clean energy future. Everyone involved was aligned in the vision of a beach without the oil piers, and we could not have done it without you. Lastly, one of the reasons why this project happened is that we held our lessees and our operators to account. That is something that the State Lands Commission is wholeheartedly committed to continuing to do. We will continue that vigor and go after any actors who are engaged in the kind of fossil fuel action that is dangerous to our communities. So as we celebrate today, let's also look forward to the work that we have left to do and recognize that when you look around this magnificent beach, this magnificent town of Goleta, City of Goleta, and County of Santa Barbara, there truly is no more magnificent, beautiful place in the world. We are so blessed that it is part of our great state of California and that we have so many people committed to protecting this remarkable, beautiful, beautiful landscape. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And back to you, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor. Next, I am extremely excited and honored to introduce one of our newest commissioners and your newest State Controller, State Controller Malia Cohen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Goleta. We should start all of our meetings, all of our days on the beach. I love the beach. This is such a beautiful, peaceful, serene place to be, and it's so apropos for us to gather as a community just to acknowledge the sacredness of the land that we're standing on and recognizing that this is an important natural resources that deserves our respect and our protection. My name is Malia Cohen. I am your state controller. I'm your neighbor just a little north of you, come from a city called San Francisco. And I want to recognize the city council members that are here, as well as the supervisors and also the state representatives and the activists, because collectively this is what bold leadership looks like. And for the people that are not here, that have dedicated their life for the removal of the pier, this is just such a huge celebratory moment. I'm just filled with excitement. And all of us here today are a testament to how significant this project is and how meaningful it is, not only to the city of Goleta, but the entire state of California. Also, I hope that this project will serve as a beacon of light for any other fossil fuel addicted states that are out there, and that they will follow our lead and continue to decommission. As your controller, I've taken a keen interest in the benefit that this brings to the community and the ongoing climate discussions. This project is a huge achievement and particularly important in this moment as we transition away from fossil fuels. Our collective efforts to, joining our collective efforts to address the climate crisis, our focus on advancing and prioritizing environmental justice. And as we focus on environmental justice, we also give voice to injustice, environmental injustice, and burning fossil fuels disproportionately affects low-income communities, particularly communities of color that are often left off the table when it comes to the policy discussions that are happening. So decommissioning oil and gas facilities prevents harm from oil, continued harm from oil and gas facilities. And this project advances our vision for California to be fossil-free, to ensure that all of our state's residents can participate in and, most importantly, benefit from a just transition to a renewable energy future, clean, and most importantly, a healthy economy. California can do it, and we are going to show the world how we get it done. So removing these two piers was an enormous undertaking. As you can imagine, just from a process perspective, I'm a former San Francisco supervisor, so I respect process. But if you can imagine obtaining permits and the protocols in place to ensure that the highest levels of environmental protection, and then accounting for all the countless unknowns, this has been quite a feat. Removing thousands of tons of potentially contaminated soil, over thousands of tons of concrete from the shoreline, it's not easy. But folks might have made it look easy, but today we celebrate not only this removal, but the restoration of the coastline, our recommitment to a healthy future, reestablishing a public access to this absolutely beautiful beach, but also acknowledging the work that went into planning this. So today we gather, and quite honestly, it's a sobering reality, yet an opportune time in California's history. We are seeing the effects of climate change. Candidly, I was expecting sun. I'm a little disappointed that I left San Francisco for the fog. I could have stayed home for this, but we know that climate change is affecting warmer seas, higher temperatures, drought, devastating fires, and but we have the best community leaders, scientists, engineers, experts to help us keep from this defining our future. The State Lands Commission is harnessing all its energy towards achieving our clean energy goals and setting an example for the nation and promoting the development of renewable energy projects that benefit our tribal government as well as our historically excluded communities. So we are applying this energy and more importantly, this new fashion of leadership in our work to decommission other oil and gas facilities like Platform Holly and Rincon Island. So I look forward to being at the table, to being a commissioner, to doing that work with you and as a commissioner. I also want to say an acknowledgement to the tribal leadership, to the nations. They're not here with us this morning, but they have been stewards of this land since the time immemorial, and we honor their generation-long commitment to sustainable, healthy life and land use. And they've been an example that we should be following willingly. We look forward to continuing to partner and engage with all of you as we continue this work collectively. And with that said, my name is Malia Cohen, and it's a delight to continue to serve the state of California. Thank you. Jennifer, I turn it back to you.
All right, next it's my honor to introduce Senator Limon. She represents the 19th District of California, all of Santa Barbara, and Senator Limon, former Senator Jackson, and Assemblymember Hart have been an incredible partner for us over the last many, many years, holding us accountable and also really representing your community to the highest level. And it's just an honor for you guys to be here with us this morning. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. And before we start, I want to give Jennifer, Sherry, the City of Goleta, State Lands, our Coastal Commission, CalGEM, OSPR, everybody a very big thank you. This is years in the making. There have been a lot of meetings, a lot of budget conversations, a lot of strategizing on how to get grants, on how to get funding opportunities to make this happen. We are here with you today as those that get to benefit from seeing the project come to fruition, but there are so many that are not here today and so many that are not on camera that I'm looking at who have been instrumental to making this happen. Thank you. One of the things that happened when I got to the legislature is I got to come to this beach as a legislator, not just as a constituent, and to talk and spend a whole lot of time talking about those piers, looking at those piers, touching those piers, smelling the piers. And I remember one of the visits that we had here, constituents who figured out who we were. I think Senator Jackson was with us on that particular visit, just came up to us and said, how long is this going to take? This is really something that's important to the community. So being on Chumash land today, stepping foot here, looking to the side and seeing no ugly, dirty, smelly piers is incredible because it took so long and for so many people to make this investment. I'm grateful that we are here showing the state of California, showing other communities and other states in our country that the decommissioning is part of our future, part of a reality. This county has had oil production for over 150 years. And so those piers were really just symbols of what stays even after companies leave our community. And so it has been public lands, public good that has really driven this particular moment. And so I am very grateful to all of those involved. And I know that as a state representative who's worked year in and year out to find funding, to secure funding, to create more funding opportunities, to be able to decommission a lot of the infrastructure that is left, it has been incredible to be seeing this on the other side. Again, grateful to everybody involved, grateful to be here, and I'm probably the only one that has a little one here today that will know this beach as a beach without the ugly, dirty, smelly piers. And for that, I am grateful to this community, to our activists who have always pushed to make sure that we don't leave some of this infrastructure there for the future. This beach looks different for the future because of everybody here and because of everybody here who has worked on this from the county level to the city level, from the nonprofit level, from the state level. I joked with our state controller and our state lieutenant government, and I told them among the most important things for the Santa Barbara County is your role on the State Lands Commission. I was not kidding. So thank you for your service, and thank you everyone for being here, for supporting this effort, and for also committing to do this more in areas along our state, along the coast, where we see the infrastructure alive and well, an infrastructure that our community does not want, that leaves toxic memories of what was there. So thank you all. Next, I would love to introduce Assemblymember Hart, and I'm very grateful for Senator Limon and Assemblymember Hart making time this morning because they do have to catch a flight at 11 to head to Sacramento, so thank you.
Well, and with that note, I think I better be brief because the plane's going to leave without us. I just want to say thanks to everybody, too. This is really an incredible moment, something to celebrate. It doesn't happen like this very often. People have been working for a very, very long time to achieve that. But I wanted to go back a little bit in time and describe the context of where we are because, you know, those of us who live here have an understanding of the history of oil development in Santa Barbara County. The very first offshore oil drilling and rigs in the world occurred in Summerlin, California in the 1890s. And in those days, that oil industry was completely unregulated. Folks came, they put piers out, they dug holes, they didn't care at all about the consequences of that. Folks would put pipes in the sand and take the natural gas that would leak into those pipes and light them as flares so they could recreate on the beach at night. There was no understanding of the consequences of those actions on the future, and frankly, they took all that, sucked all the oil out, and just left it there in place. And government got involved in the 1950s, began to regulate the oil industry, and you know, we have been trying ever since to kind of reclaim the pristine environment that we inherited from the Chumash, and the many generations of Santa Barbara County residents have been fighting to preserve. Get Oil Out was formed in 1969 when we had the most devastating oil spill in the country's history. I was 10 years old. I remember viscerally the oil that was churning in the ocean and on the beach, the birds that were dying. People came from every part of this community to come to the beach to futilely throw hay onto the oil in an attempt to clean it up. There was no infrastructure that existed at the time to do anything about that oil spill. And I think as a country, certainly as Santa Barbara County, and really the world, we learned some major lessons from that environmental catastrophe that we're still trying to put into effect today, you know, 50 plus years later. The work that the State Lands Commission is doing to further that, the work that the state legislature is doing to advance renewable energy and to transition our economy to the future with clean energy is so critical. We know how at risk our climate is. In this environment here, we're constantly whipped by floods and droughts and wildfires that are caused by our reliance on the fossil fuel industry. So as a county, as a state, as a nation, and as a world, we have an imperative to shift from fossil fuels to renewable energy. We're trying to do that here in Santa Barbara County, removing this infrastructure one project at a time. I loved what the Lieutenant Governor said about progress is made one project at a time. The work that you're all doing and we're going to continue to do is vital to our future. I'm just proud as I could possibly be to be here representing our community in the state legislature, trying to advance that work. And you have my commitment that I'm going to continue for as long as I'm in office to help represent you and do this work together so that we can achieve the vision that we're all after. Thank you.
So next I want to introduce City of Goleta Mayor Paula Perotti. We have the city and the State Lands Commission have been through some times together, and it has been an extremely wonderful experience, so productive and collaborative to work with you and your team over the years, and it's just exciting to be here with you sharing this celebration. Mayor.
Thank you for that. You know, I look out and I see all of you, and it just warms my heart that so many people came out today, and so many people have been involved with this. And so first of all, good morning to everyone. And, you know, our city over the years, we've celebrated a lot of different things, and our announcements always seem to start with, I'm thrilled to be here, thrilled to announce something. But, well, today I'm beyond thrilled, and I'm sure my colleagues would all agree with that, about what we're celebrating. In fact, I'm exhilarated, I'm ecstatic, I'm enraptured, I'm elated, and on and on and on and on. I have lots of words that I could say that how we're feeling today. And for here we are celebrating this long-awaited removal of oil casings and piers associated with oil wells at Goleta's Haskell's Beach. Today's celebration marks a significant accomplishment for the safety of our community and ocean environment. Haskell's Beach today looks more like Haskell's in 1923 than 2023. The antiquated wells and piers are forever gone and no longer pose an oil spill threat to our ocean, beaches, flora, and fauna. The State Lands Commission's partnership with the City of Goleta has been key to this restoration effort, and we appreciate the commitment, the cooperation, the collaboration of all the folks. Too long for me to name all of them, but everyone that's been involved with this. You know who you are. While we celebrate this major accomplishment, the work of removing legacy oil and gas infrastructures in Goleta is not done. We look forward to continuing our collaboration on the full decommissioning of both Platform Holly and the Elwood onshore facility. We still have some work to do. And just as an announcement, we plan to, I hope you will join us, we're having a town hall meeting at City Council Chambers Wednesday, June 7th. At 6 p.m. so you can get more information on what's going on and what's going on in the future for this area. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Thank you. And I'm so glad she plugged our town hall event in partnership with the city on Wednesday night. We'll be giving a status update on the Platform Holly decommissioning and answering all your questions. So next, it is my honor to introduce Supervisor Hartman. Please. County of Santa Barbara Supervisor, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. Good morning. I represent the 3rd District, and the 3rd District starts up near Lompoc, Vandenberg Air Force Base, and comes down past Goleta. And I mention that because last week I had an image sent to me of the last wind turbine at the Strauss Wind Farm being erected near Lompoc. And that seems to me a very important juxtaposition that we see with today, the decommissioning of the piers and Platform Holly. We're really seeing the change, the transition that's so desperately needed. Just last week, 2 weeks ago, scientists made very clear that we're
quickly approaching the 1.5 degree Celsius that the Paris Climate Accord said was the marker. We expect to be there by 2027, so never before has decommissioning been more important. So this is symbolic of what we need to do more of in the future. And fortunately, it's planned. Platform Holly is just the first. Hidalgo Harvest and Hermosa off Point Conception, and Gale Grace off Carpinteria, and Hooch and Hogan and Habitat near the county line are only the first set of 23 out-of-date platforms scheduled for removal over the next 10 years. We have to leave oil in the ground. These platforms only have a life of 45 to 50 years, so it's time for them to go. Our goal is to learn all we can from this. I attended some of the first meetings at the City of Goleta with State Lands, and this was new for everybody, and State Lands has done a tremendous job making this appear seamless when really we were all just learning. And so thank you very much to everyone who's been working on this.
Thank you, Supervisor Hartman. Next, it's my honor to introduce County of Santa Barbara Supervisor Capps. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just want to acknowledge our state leaders for being here. Your presence is a testament to how much this matters to our community. And to echo what our senator said, if you want to just think of one word when it comes to Santa Barbara County, it's environmentalism. It's in our DNA. And our Senator Lamone also used the phrase toxic memory. And if I could, like Assembly Member Hart said, to go back, because today is a celebration of all of the work and the future that will be more sustainable, more clean. But it also is acknowledgement of the decades of work that went into this. And they say the Chinese character of crisis is also is the same as opportunity. And Santa Barbarans took a crisis and turned it into an opportunity to literally catapult us and create Earth Day, spark an entire environmental movement. The UCSB Environmental Department was a result of the oil spill. I mean, you could just go on, and there's a person who's going to be speaking next who did that, who walked the walk. And as a kid, my toxic memory, I grew up on these beaches, and I was born shortly after the oil spill. And the beaches were still so laden with tar that my siblings and I would come home from a day at the beach, and my mom had what's it called, the cleaner to douse us with, to clean us after, so before we go in the house. It was just that's what this reality was right here. And now we look, and there's no pier. There's none of this gross symbols of the past. We have the symbols of the future. And I just want to say thank you and acknowledge that as if we needed another sign that climate change is here. It's drizzling on June 5th in Santa Barbara. So we know what we need to do, and this is a huge step forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Capps. It is my great honor and privilege to introduce Carla Frisk with Get Oil Out. She was a former staffer to Jack O'Connell and on the board of directors for GOO, and has been a longtime advocate and partner with the State Lands Commission, holding us accountable to do what's right for her community. And so it's just an honor for you to be here, and it's really just a testament to your strength and perseverance, Carla.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jennifer. That was very, very touching. For this opportunity to really representing the environmental community today, and it's really, again, as everybody says, a privilege to be here to celebrate the removal of these now gone ancient Lease 421 facilities. I got my start working on oil issues. I'm sorry Greg had to leave, because Greg and Wendy, who's with, there she is, Congressman Carbajal and I all worked together for Senator Jack O'Connell all those many years ago, and now they're still in public service, which is awesome. So I just want to give a little history, because I think I followed this. I have a big chart in my computer. Sometimes even State Lands Commission calls me and says, can you send us that chart? So Lease 421 was let in 1949, followed by oil drilling, obviously. And when the facilities were removed last year, they were roughly 73 years old. Best number I can get. That's old. For 40 to 45 years, those wells removed oil from beneath the ocean floor and sent it by pipeline to the Elwood onshore facility, another issue that we're going to have to deal with. And then in 1994, that pipeline carrying that oil broke, and the whole operation was shut down. In spite of calls from the environmental community to take action, the State Lands Commission let those facilities sit for 6 years. Those were the days when the commission and its staff had a very pro-oil development philosophy, and the environmental groups had very little influence. Once the wells began leaking in 2000, however, there was no choice. The commission had to take action, and they required Veneco to make a number of emergency repairs. Then kind of more time went by, and in 2005, efforts began by Veneco basically to recommission the piers and the pipeline, and permits were issued in 2014. Fortunately, those wells were never recommissioned. Instead, in 2017, Veneco quit-claimed those leases and the leases associated with Platform Holly to the State Lands Commission. Dropped off the keys and said good luck. Today is a different day at the State Lands Commission. The staff are completely accessible. They return phone calls. They come to the community like they're going to next a couple of days to have community workshops, most of which I've attended, and they are always well attended. There's no more proposals for state oil and gas leases in state waters off our coast. So in my 40 years of working on offshore oil leases, the State Lands Commission has never worked with a community like this commission does and this staff does. And it has never made the effort to come to here to celebrate the removal of oil facilities. Today represents that new attitude, a partnership with the community, and good stewardship with the public resources. So the environmental community couldn't be more grateful that the State Lands Commission has set the gold standard, one that we hope other state agencies will emulate. So on behalf of our community, all of us, environmental and otherwise, I want to thank the Commission and their staff for being here today, for taking the time, and for their future efforts, because it has been mentioned that we still have a ways to go to complete the work that needs to be done along the Elwood coast, and as Greg said, also in Summerlin. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Carla. So I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to ask former Senator Hannah Beth Jackson to say a few words, given your long time devotion and dedication to cleaning our coast up. Please, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. You know, as a recovering politician, we still love to talk. Just a couple things. The comments today were all spot on. This is just really an example of what happens in a democracy when the people speak, when their legislators and their state officers and their commissions and executive branch steps up to the plate. You know, a few years ago, maybe even 20 when I first started all this, it was such an uphill battle because the oil industry had a hold on this state. But when the people speak, and with perseverance and commitment and determination, there is nothing that is impossible when we come together and work together. So my statement is, let us not give up hope. This is a perfect example of what happens when we do come together, what we've been able to achieve, restoring this magnificent area. I hope that isn't their plane, but maybe not. But when we come together as community and we persist, we cannot give up. We never, ever, ever give up. And as a result, we are all aligned today in this mission, and the accomplishments they just speak for themselves. We have restored this beautiful place to a place where our children and our grandchildren and future generations are going to be able to walk and be proud. And for that, I want to thank everyone who's here, and thank you for the opportunity to speak.
All right, so we are nearing the end of our event. I just wanted to thank everybody for being here. I want to especially thank our state agency partners that are in the audience today. Acting Administrator for OSPR, Julie Yamamoto, and her team are here. LaQuinn Wynn, she's the Deputy Secretary for the California Natural Resources Agency under Secretary Crowfoot. She is here today. We also have Cassidy Teufel with the Coastal Commission. Again, that we couldn't do everything that we do without our state agency partners. And so thank you for being here with us this morning, and thank you all. Really appreciate it. So that concludes our event. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. We have a little protocol left. The time is currently 9:56 a.m. The Piers 421 decommissioning event is concluded. Commissioner Cohen, do you have any public comment you'd like to preserve for the record?
No.
Having concluded this, with no official actions to report, just a lot of great joy to recognize, we adjourn this meeting until 12 p.m. The meeting will resume at the City of Goleta Council Chambers, located at 130 Cremona Drive, Goleta, California. At that time, the Commission will consider the items noticed on the agenda, including public comment. During the adjournment, I remind each of the commissioners and their staff to avoid discussing any official business until we resume the meeting. Thank you. See you all at noon. And again, thank you everyone who made this day possible.